What's up guys? Hopefully you're all having a great day so far and are ready for another banger Resident Evil video. I'm still trying to mess with this new mic of mine, so if you guys hear any static interference throughout this video, don't mind that because that's just my phone picking up static from the microphone, which is pretty unfortunate because to record this video I need to keep my phone relatively close to the mic so I can talk. But anyways, I actually made my very own tier list, which is the second time I've ever done this, and this time I'm going to be ranking the weapons of Resident Evil, and I thought to do a little cool thing where I actually had categories for each weapons. So this is a category just for the pistols, and we're going to be starting off with Billy's pistol from RE0. There isn't a whole lot of handgun ammo to go around in RE0, so Billy's handgun makes up for it kind of well, but compared to Rebecca's handgun, it's not much better, so I'd pretty much count it as like a standard handgun. The next weapon on this tier list is the hunting gun, which is considered a shotgun in RE0. Now, if you're talking about all the other Resident Evil games in this series, I would say the hunting gun isn't one of the best shotguns, but when it comes to playing RE0, I would like to think the hunting gun actually helps you a whole lot with your campaign. So, I'd say the hunting gun's pretty decent, but I don't know how it's gonna fare compared to the rest of the shotguns in this tier list. But moving on with the next one is the grenade launcher from RE0, of course, and this one is a pretty simple gun. Most of the grenade launchers, especially in the classic games, are pretty much the same, so I went ahead and put it down there in its own category of power weapons. So now we're moving on to RE1. I wanted to try and incorporate a little bit of everything from all the games from 0 to 8, including CVX, so I added 3 of some of the most important weapons in those games, which totals to about 30 weapons in this tier list. The Samurai Edge makes a lot of different appearances in the Resident Evil games, so I had to put it at the top of the list for the pistols. So moving on with this next entry now is going to be the assault shotgun from RE1, which I thought was better than the hunting gun from RE0, so I put it at the top of the shotguns category. This shotgun is definitely an upgrade from the other shotgun you get, and I think this is the best shotgun in the game for sure, which you can only get after having Richard help you out with the first Yawn fight. The assault shotgun is really good for getting headshots, I think, and in RE1 Remake it's definitely important to have it for the later stages of the game. Alright, this next one is a little bit of a harder gun to acquire in RE1 Remake, and that is the 44 Magnum, which is also known as Barry's Magnum in RE1. This Magnum can actually take out the tyrant at the end of the game with just one shot. I'm not sure on harder difficulties, but I think on normal difficulty it can, so this one's definitely a very powerful gun. So I wanted to do this in order of the game's releases and everything, but my tier list decided nope, that's not going to happen. So I guess we're going to be talking about the shotgun from RE3 now, which is a pretty decent gun. But I still like to think that there's many other great shotguns in the Resident Evil games, so I don't know if this one's gonna get a very high placement on this tier list. Okay, now I guess it's time to talk about the sniper from Code Veronica. This sniper was absolutely garbage. I think it's probably hands down one of the worst sniper rifles that we've ever had in a Resident Evil game, and it's not because of the damage, it's because of that stupid crosshair. To try and use a sniper rifle on the PS2 is actually like very janky, and if you've tried it then you would know what I mean. This next one is one of the best weapons in all of Resident Evil, and it's without a doubt at the top of the pistol category, and that is the M9 3R. It's possible I said that in the wrong order, but whatever, it is the triple round burst from RE5, which actually comes with Excella when you play RE5 Mercenaries. That triple round burst is so good when it comes to everything, including firepower, firing rate, and even reload speed. This next weapon is the Elephant Killer from Resident Evil 6, which I think you can only acquire while playing Jake and Sherry's story. Unless you've got it in a previous playthrough, then I think you can play a whole nother playthrough with the Magnum. I've played all the RE6 campaigns a handful of times. Even though it has been a couple of years since I've played, I do remember using the Elephant Killer, and if I'm not mistaken, it definitely feels like one of the most OP weapons in the game. Next up is the bow gun from RE2, which you can only get in the OG RE2. And when it comes to this, I really didn't know where to put it. I was going to put it as a power weapon, but they also give it to you at the beginning of the game. when Kendo gets attacked by all the zombies. So I think it kind of counts as a standard weapon, or maybe some would say a sniper, because it's like a bowgun. So anyways, that's where I put it. It's a great weapon, so I'm going to go pretty high at that category, even though I think the bowgun from CVX might be better. This next weapon here is one of the best weapons I've ever seen in definitely recent times for RE games, and that is the rocket pistol. I think to get the rocket pistol, all you have to do is beat the game on standard difficulty and then buy it in the shop with your credits. And when you do so, it is one of the most OP weapons of all time. It makes beating the game an absolute breeze.
A lovely weapon, sir.
I don't know, I think this assault rifle is pretty good, but it kind of at the same time just feels like any old assault rifle, except for the fact that it does have a pretty good firing rate. Regardless, this is the first assault rifle to go into this tier list, so let's see if there's any others that will beat it. So in this next randomly selected weapon that the tier list chose for me, it's going to be the Code Veronica Starter Pistol. I'm not enough of a weapon fan to know the names of a lot of these weapons, so I'm just going to call it the starting pistol because it's the first one given to you. And is it just me, or is this one of the weakest pistols of all time? They do kind of make up for it for giving you a lot of handgun ammo in Code Veronica, but man, it feels like it takes forever to even put down one zombie with this pistol. Okay, next up is one of my all-time favorite weapons in Code Veronica, and that is the AK-74. The dual-wield machine guns that you get earlier on are pretty cool as well, but I think the AK is an absolute lifesaver when it comes to Code Veronica because I like to put it in my item box and pull it out later when I move on to Chris to take down the big worm and also the giant spider. Now, if you were to ask people what is the best weapon in Resident Evil history, some people might say it's the PRL 412. This weapon is given to you after you beat the game on professional difficulty, and of course it comes infinite, and it is so dang powerful it can take out any enemy from the standard Ganado to even Sadler in just one charge. Yep, that one's at the top of the list. Like, that's not even a question. The PRL is one of the most goated weapons of all time. It's really good for speedrunning too, which I like to do after you've played a game 100,000s of times. What better thing to do than to try and beat the game faster than you have before? And with the PRL, it's very easy to do that. Speaking of speedrun, this next one is the Striker Shotgun, and most of you know that the Striker Shotgun has a little special ability to it that even the developers did not intend on having, which has become known as the Ditman glitch. All glitches aside, the Striker Shotgun is definitely the best shotgun in RE4 for firepower and firing rate and all that stuff, but with the Ditman glitch as well, it just makes it a little bit easier for speedrunners. Next up is definitely the best pistol in all of RE4, and one of the most unique pistols as well, I think, in the Resident Evil franchise, and that is the Red 9. I think the thing that makes the Red 9 so insane is its crazy firepower that it has, so having to fight bosses with it would be more optimal than having any other kind of pistol. Next up is going to be the number one shotgun on this tier list, and I can tell you that right now, and that is going to be the Hydra. The triple barrel shotgun is definitely the best one that you can get for shotguns in RE5. And it also has a really good firing rate and a really cool animation that Chris has when he holds it. It's really fun to use for sure, but if it had any flaws, I would say maybe it's kind of harder to pull off critical headshots with it, but other than that, it's a great weapon. Next up is the anti-material rifle from RE6, or also known as the AMR. I do remember using it in RE6 Mercenaries, and it feels pretty good to use, but for some reason I think the AMR is just a lot better in Revelations 2 Raid mode. I mean, I could be wrong because in Raid mode you can actually put parts and upgrades on them and whatnot, so maybe it's just me, but I think the scope and just everything about the AMR is better in Rev 2 Raid mode. Next up is the 909 handgun from RE6 as well, and this one I think you can only get while playing as Chris or Jake. As you can see, it's got really good firing rate and is a very good handgun, but I think that has to do with the fact that the enemies in RE6 are a lot more advanced, so they had to make up for it and give you a more heavy-duty kind of handgun. I know the starting pistol from Code Veronica would not be able to help you get through all these Dravo that run and just shoot weapons at you and stuff, so that perfectly explains why the 909 exists in RE6. Now moving on to the first entry of RE7, and that is one of the most OP weapons of all time, and that is the Albert 01. I keep saying that all of these weapons are most OP or whatever, but this tier list is made up of some of my favorite weapons, so it just makes sense that I'm going to be saying that a lot. And with this one in particular, this one is super good because it's actually given to you at the very end of RE7, where most games in Resident Evil give you a rocket launcher or a railgun or something. The final weapon in this is just a magnum, but it is one insane magnum. I thought this one was unique in RE7, so I kind of wanted to add it, and that is the burner, which is pretty much just a flamethrower. We all know that. To be honest, I think this weapon only really comes in handy during the Marguerite fight, of course with all the bugs and everything, and apart from that part, once you're done with that section, I don't think you ever need that gun ever again. Now this next weapon is the Dragoon from Resident Evil Village. This one in Village is very fun to use with infinite ammo. I've done it quite a lot, but also with other things like the rocket pistol, it's really not so needed. But in Reverse, Chris and most of the Hound Wolf Squad members are given the Dragoon, so I have used that gun 1,000 times before, and I can tell you it's a pretty reliable assault rifle. Now we have another grenade launcher, but this one is from RE Village, and I think this one is about equivalent to the grenade launcher from RE0 and all the other ones in the Resident Evil franchise. Now, this grenade launcher might be better than the one from RE0, but I'm not too sure, so let me know down in the comments if you think that the RE Village grenade launcher is better than any of the other previous grenade launchers in RE history. This next one I put in the category with the pistols, but it's a revolver, so, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, right? Now, the Quick Draw Army is very good with all things like damage and firing rate, but one thing that it doesn't do good with is the reload speed, which pretty much just makes sense because it's a revolver, so I'd like to think that that's pretty realistic. All the characters in Reverse were given a standard weapon, and Claire had the best standard weapon without a doubt thanks to the fact that she was given her Quick Draw Army revolver. Now next is the Spark Shot, which I didn't really use a lot until later on when I got more into speedrunning and I saw runners that actually used it in their playthrough. And the Spark Shot actually came in handy a lot for the third Birkin fight, and just for the lab section of the game sometimes. Plus, the Spark Shot was like the best power weapon in Reverse thanks to its ability to stun lock people, which got some players very upset at times. Okay, the next one is the Lightning Hawk from RE5, and I thought it would be good to add this one because I think it's the best one out of the Magnums in RE5. The strongest Magnum is one of the Smith & Wessons, but it shoots super slow, as the other Smith & Wesson doesn't do as good firepower but shoots faster, so I think that's why the Lightning Hawk is the perfect one in between for having a faster firing rate and a pretty solid firepower as well. This next one I thought I had to add because I think that it's just the weakest weapon in Resident Evil history, and that's the starting pistol from RE7. Wouldn't you guys agree that the starting pistol from RE7 is like super weak? I think they kind of did that on purpose, and they kind of fixed it in a way to where they make the entirety of RE7 feel like you're playing with super limited ammo. This next one is the starting pistol from RE3, and I think this one is another one of those weak little weapons. Even in the OG RE3, taking down zombies with the starting pistol just feels like it takes ages. Even in the remake, you could be headshotting them like a billion times and you feel like they're just not dropping. So I think this one, the Code Veronica, and RE7 starting pistols are all going to be at the bottom of this pistols category on my tier list. But yeah, that's it everyone. What did you guys think of my tier list? I thought it was pretty fun to make it, and I'm glad I did it in the way that I did, where I have a category for each weapon, because now I can go through and show you guys which ones I think are the best pistols, shotguns, snipers, magnums, and even power weapons. Okay, now here comes the part where I review each of my guns. So starting out at the top with the pistols is the RE5 triple round burst handgun. That one's my favorite. Second one is the Quick Draw Army from RE2. Third is Red 9 from RE4. Then I have the ones like Samurai Edge from RE1, 909 from RE6, Billy's Handgun from RE0, and the starting pistols from RE3, Code Veronica, and RE7. Now my favorite shotguns from Resident Evil are the Hydra from RE5, Striker from RE4, Assault Shotgun from RE1, RE3's Shotgun, and the Hunting Gun from RE0. Now for the ARs, there wasn't a lot that I put in this tier list, but my favorite is the AK-74, then the second is the Dragoon, and lastly is the Assault Rifle from RE3. Same with the snipers. I included the bowgun because I kinda thought it was a sniper and didn't know where else to put it, but anyways, I think the AMR, the anti-material rifle, is the best one out of the snipers, and then the bowgun, and then of course the stupid Code Veronica sniper that is just weird to aim with. Now for the magnums, I think the best one has to be the Albert 01 from RE7, then the Elephant Killer from RE6, the Lightning Hawk from RE5, and then Barry's 44 Magnum from RE1. Now lastly are the big boy power weapons, which I think the best one has to be the PRL 412 from RE4, then after that is the Rocket Pistol from Village, then the Spark Shot from RE2, then the Grenade Launcher from Village, Grenade Launcher from Zero, and the Burner from RE7. Well, that's it for my video. I had a lot of fun sitting here talking about all these weapons, and I hope you guys had fun watching this video. If you want to see more, feel free to comment down below any suggestions for tier list videos that are Resident Evil related, because I would love to do more. I also post Resident Evil Mercenaries and Raid Mode gameplay daily, so make sure you hit subscribe and hit the bell if you don't want to miss a single Resident Evil video. Also, very special shout out to my one and only YouTube Pro member who is also the face of Reverse, Ico Pro Sam. And with that being said, I will see you guys all in the next video tomorrow. Peace.